So I'm now joined by Christian Rouffaert, the CEO and founder of Teragence. Christian, good to see you. Now, it's been an exciting year for the company. Tell us what's been happening.
It's been a really exciting year. We raised our finance in June time. We brought on board a whole raft of very interesting sector-specific investors who bring their money, but also their sector knowledge and their connections, which is really helpful for us. We won a set of very interesting industry awards. We won the Telco Data Analytics Most Innovative Analytics Startup, and also we helped Vodafone win the award for Most Innovative Mobile Edge Computing Project. We're also getting great traction with customers, with the likes of Vodafone and O2 in the UK, but also here with the GSMA, who are using our results to make a number of interesting assessments around network performance.
So competitive network analytics is one of your key messages. Tell us exactly what that means.
Yes, that's correct. We use those terms very specifically because we bridge the world of analytics and network analytics on one side and competitive benchmarking on the other side. Both of these worlds have their strengths and their weaknesses and have been mutually exclusive. Analytics is about getting really granular real-time insights, and benchmarking is about comparing against your competitor, but it's intermittent and comes in dribs and drabs. We fuse those two worlds by bringing a real-time, very granular insight into your own performance, but also the performance of your competitors, and this by location and by time of day. And that's why we use the term competitive network analytics.
Okay, so tell us about some of the key use cases for operators.
The use cases is always where the rubber hits the road. We focus on three core use cases. The first one is something that we call the intelligent site prioritizer, where we use the data and the insights that we gather from the Teragence data around operators' own performance and their competitors to make basically a scorecard by location of who's a leader and who's a laggard. And that insight can then be used to drive investment decisions in specific sites and specific locations. So that's number one. The second set of use cases is around MVNO, IoT, and connected cars. This is about selecting the best network to support your IoT or connected platform. It's about selecting the best network up front, but also keeping that network provider to its quality commitments that you need for your IoT business to work. The third set of use cases are all around radio optimization and providing real on-the-ground data to enable the radio optimization process to run more smoothly. And here we're talking about mapping out exactly the cell reach, identifying cell overshoot, cross feeders, and so forth and so on.
So what is driving some of the increased demand for these types of solutions?
That's a really interesting question. I think it's a bit of a cliche, but it is true. Operators are going through a digital transformation. And part of that digital transformation is the way you work with data and how you use data, not only within its own silo of its own platform, but mashing it up with other data sources. So there's a creativity of finding new data sources and extracting new insights. And we are actually riding that wave by providing very good data that was previously assumed only to be available deep in the OSS systems or in the network systems, which we are now making available much more easily, and which we can then mash with other data and make good and strong insights from. That change is now perpetuating itself through the different organizations in the telco, and we're seeing a definite uptick in demand.
Okay, so lots going on, but ultimately how does Teragence differentiate itself in the market?
Again, very good question. I think our differentiation is quite subtle, but it sits around this. There are two things that operators hate more than anything else. Number one is vast sets of raw data. Operators have plenty of data. It's not getting access to the data that's a problem, it's getting the insight. On the other side, what they even hate more is locked dashboards without access to the underlying data. The frustrations of the operators of having all these dashboards but not being able to correlate or to mash up between them is really, really difficult. So what we bring is the ability for operators to get access to our raw data, but at the same time giving them good data visualization, giving them the insight and educating them on how we use that insight to generate business-focused conclusions. So it's that balance between both raw data and insight and the ability to mash that up with other data sources that's really our differentiator.
Okay, so finally, what's next? How is this all going to play out in a 5G era?
I think that if we move to 5G, we're going to see much more powerful networks, but also much more networks that are much more vulnerable to changes in the environment and changes within the networks themselves. So the ability to collect data about what's happening in the network and outside of the network and driving your decisions on a minute-by-minute, second-by-second basis is going to become more important. And we will position ourselves as a data provider on those environmental factors, what we call situational awareness of the network, to enable networks to act upon a situation not in a feedback paradigm, but in a feed-forward, anticipatory way. And that's where we're going to move in the next few years.
Christian, thank you very much.
Thank you.